question I'm asking today is, what is it that you need to stop tolerating so that you can achieve what you really, really want? Now, let me start by saying that there was definitely a time when I first started my coaching business that I didn't want to do certain things. And in fact, when I first elicited my values in business, my number one value for being in business was flexibility. Now, you might think, you know what? Yeah, for sure. If you have your own business, you know, that one of the benefits for that is creating flexibility. And that might be true. But the problem with what flexibility meant to me was that really it meant nobody was going to tell me what I had to do, where I had to be, how much I was going to get paid, what days I had to work, what hours I had to work, what tasks I had to fulfill in any given day. So it was more about being a rebellious teenager than, you know, a grown-ass adult with a business. And so the things that I didn't want to do were things like showing up and being visible, marketing, sales, positioning myself as an expert because, you know, what if somebody else knew more than I did? What if somebody else called me out? What if I wasn't all that? And as a result of me avoiding all these things, I had very few clients, which meant I wasn't making very much money. And at that time, I was a single mum with a preteen daughter, and I was the only one paying the bills in my household. So I was running out of money very quickly, and it got very scary, and I eventually had to go and get a job so that I could pay my bills. And it sucked. Like, it really sucked. I hated that job. It was so destroying. Now, I didn't hate it straight from the start. It was okay at the start, and I certainly met some lovely people. It was very highly sales focused, so I learned, I developed some neurology around sales, so that was good. But the actual job sucked. It wasn't aligned with my values. I didn't believe in what I was selling. I could see it had some benefits for some people, but I felt like it just was like an expensive Band-Aid for other people who couldn't afford it. And it was horrible. I hated it. And my office, I had to work out of this tiny little box office that was in the middle of this building that had no windows. Like, I had no external windows. It was just walls and a door. And the room that I had just fit a desk, and then there were all these archive boxes and crap stacked up around the walls around me, and I just had this little path that went from the door to my desk, and it was horrible, right? It was horrible. But here's the problem, right? The problem wasn't just that I had a lot to learn in business and that, you know, I had this job that sucked. The real problem was that I tolerated that situation for far too long until I decided enough was enough and did something about it. Because the truth is, you're either doing the thing that you say you want to do, regardless of how uncomfortable it might be, because, you know, the fact is, whenever you say that you want a different reality or that you set a goal or you challenge yourself to, you know, whether it's start a business or improve your relationship or improve your health or whatever that might be, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have obstacles because your current thinking and belief system and neurology is set up for the reality that you have. If you want a different reality, you can't do it from the same neurology that you have now. You have to form new neural pathways, new beliefs, values, all those kinds of things. Behaviors. You know, you've got to learn things. You've got to rewire your brain to create a different reality. And so that can feel uncomfortable. Okay, that can feel uncomfortable. But if you are tolerating a situation that you don't like, that's also uncomfortable. Okay, so for me, I tolerated not having clients, not having money, not having freedom to avoid doing the uncomfortable process of doing more of the deep inner work so that I could show up as the expert, that I could master sales and marketing and learn all about business. So I kept tolerating that situation I was in with no clients, no money, crap job, soul destroying, everything that I didn't like. I kept tolerating that. But because here's the problem, right, is that whatever you're tolerating isn't comfortable either. It's not comfortable. But the difference being is that when you face up to whatever it is that you know you need to learn or grow or change, it might be uncomfortable when you first face it, but as you do the work and you do it more often, it becomes more familiar and it gets easier, and you create a situation that gets better and better and better. So this is the problem. Okay, most people are tolerating a crappy situation that's never going to change. It's going to just stay being crappy as it is because that's the reality of it. So most people tolerate that discomfort rather than facing up to a temporary different kind of discomfort that will lead to a long-term gain. Okay, so like when you decide to face your fears of whether that's being visible or learning sales and marketing or anything else for that matter, those things get easier and easier and you'll get better and better at them, and your situation will improve immensely over time. So what is it that you're tolerating now? Most people are motivated more by avoidance of immediate pain than they are towards a long-term gain. Okay, so most people are motivated more by avoidance of immediate pain than they are towards long-term gain. And it's very short-sighted. But often it's also very much outside of conscious awareness. Okay, so most people have, lots of stories and justifications that they have about where they're at. And I've had them as well. I'm like, oh, well, I've got all this baggage or these limiting beliefs or whatever. Yes, you've got to keep working on that. But all those things do is just create resistance. They're not a permanent problem. Okay, so when you say you're not achieving your goals and you don't know why, the truth is what you're really saying is that you're willing to tolerate staying where you are. Okay, so I want you to think about that. What is it that you're tolerating by staying where you are rather than facing some short-term discomfort to learn something new? And this can show up in any area of your life, as it has mine. This could be something that affects you in your relationships. So you might be saying that you want to have a better relationship, but you avoid having the difficult conversations that you need to have. Okay, so maybe there's things that you need to say to the person in your relationship or friendship to really express how you feel, or to get your needs met, or to enforce your boundaries because maybe you're worried about how they might react. Or you might even be telling the story that it's the other person's fault, that whatever's going on is their fault, and yet you're still not doing anything about it. You might say you're trapped there. But what it comes down to is that you are choosing to tolerate how things are rather than do what's uncomfortable to create what it is that you actually want. This might show up in your health as well. So you might be saying that you want to change your physical health or your body fitness or your body shape or whatever that might be. But you keep telling stories about how you don't have time or how you've tried everything or that it's too hard or that, there's maybe you're saying that there's other people in the house that don't support you having healthy habits. I can remember saying that when we had teenagers in the house. I used to say that it's really hard to eat healthy when I've got teenagers in the house. Rubbish, absolute rubbish. Right? That was just me. Right? Tolerating where I was. So whenever you're not changing something, whenever you're not putting in that effort to really change your situation, even though you're saying that you want a different reality, even though you're saying that you want to grow your business, even though you're saying that you want to have, a better relationship with your partner or a relationship, even though you're saying that you want to be healthier or you want to lose weight or whatever that might be, if you're not doing something about it, you are choosing to tolerate your current situation. So it's a bit of a mind flip, right? When you think about it that way. So what is it for you? What are you continuing to tolerate in your life or business that is keeping you from creating what you actually really want? And if you made that decision that you've just had enough of that you're not going to tolerate it anymore, what's the first thing that you need to face and overcome to get where you're going? Okay, because when you think about that, what am I tolerating? Like, I'm the person who's choosing to tolerate this. Okay, it's a big flip from, I can't make these changes. It's out of my control. It's not my fault. It's I've tried everything. It's just not working. No, what if you flipped it and just said, why am I choosing to tolerate this? Or better yet, am I ready to stop tolerating what I currently have so that I can create what I actually want? And when you decide that you're going to stop tolerating that situation, you can create a lot of motivation for what you actually want to have and create what you want to have because you take responsibility for it. And the only way that you ever create change in your life is by taking full responsibility for where you are and full responsibility for getting where you want to go. So the first step is understanding what is it that you are tolerating and deciding that you're not going to tolerate it anymore. And sometimes this can get a bit scary. Okay, and I've done this. I've done this in my relationships. I've done it in all kinds of aspects of my life where I've just gone, you know what? Like, I don't care anymore about my bullshit stories. I don't care anymore. I refuse to tolerate where I'm at anymore. That's what I did when I left that job that I hated. I was just about in tears every day. I didn't want to go to work. I hated it so much. It was soul destroying. And I just had to get to a point where I finally went, you know what? I literally don't care anymore about what I'm afraid of. Nothing about facing up what I need to do in my business is worth tolerating this horrible reality anymore. And I decided I was willing to do whatever it takes. And I decided that if other people could create the results that I wanted, well, then I would be able to create them as well. And I'm not going to say it was easy from then in, but it certainly shifted my mindset and I committed. I left my job and I went all in. I got a business coach and I've completely changed my business around. I learned how to do the things and, pretty soon I had a 6-figure business. And that's continued to grow ever since. And of course there's challenges and different times, but it all came from deciding that I wasn't going to tolerate the reality that I was living anymore. Now, as an NLP Master Trainer now, after all the years that I've worked and studied and really mastered NLP, I've become completely obsessed with how the mind works and how people need to create shifts in their mind and help them to really create a life and business that they love. And that might sound cliche, but there is a way that you're creating what you have now and you're tolerating where that's at. And there is a different way to go about creating the life and business that you would really love. And it's just finding a different way of doing things to create a different result. And because I'm so super passionate about this, I'm very excited about this. I've just launched the Coaching Circle Insiders, which is a private community where I provide live training and live Q&As every Friday morning. And you can join this community. It's a private Facebook group. You can join this community for just a fraction of what it would cost to get access to this type of support anywhere else. So normally for people to come and work with me and to get all their questions answered and those kinds of things, you've either got to come into my NLP Practitioner Training, which is a 7-day training, which I highly recommend if you haven't done already because it's completely transforms your life. Or they've already studied NLP and they join my 12-month program. And then they can get one-on-ones with me and ongoing coaching and business support to help them grow their coaching business. But I wanted to create something that was much easier access for people wherever they're at. And so the Coaching Circle Insiders is where that's at. And I just did the first live call yesterday, which was on showing up for yourself so other people show up for you. And it was incredible. I had a bunch of people on the call and they loved it. And I've got a lot of people jumped in for the special subscription offer, which is a limited offer. It's a real no-brainer. And like I said, it's a fraction of what it would cost to get access to this type of support or to work with me in any other way. So if you're enjoying this podcast, you're going to love the Coaching Circle Insiders. And there's a link below this that you can check it out. Go and have a look. And if you feel like that's something that you want to get involved with, by all means, jump in. Every Friday morning, I'm going live in there. We can get live training, live Q&A. And, totally worth it. So what I want you to think about for today is really think about and get conscious awareness of what you've been tolerating to stay where you are. Okay, so wherever you are right now, I mean, maybe your life's perfect, right? Maybe your life's exactly how you want it in every form. In that case, good on you. That takes some kind of effort. However, if you're like most people, there's probably areas of your life that there are things that you want to change, because the truth is we never get there. Okay, we never get there. As humans, our two most important human needs are growth and contribution, right? So that means you're going to continually want to grow. Okay, you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to have better experiences, you want to develop more. So this is why people look for promotions in their work, or they open a business, or they look at improving their house, or helping and contributions off the back of that. Because the more that you grow, the more that you learn and grow, the more you can contribute to something greater than yourself. Okay, so when we continue to grow and contribute, we live in a state of satisfaction and fulfillment. Okay, so that means you're never really going to have your life exactly perfect and just live it that same way for the rest of your life. Right? You're gonna continue to grow. So it's natural that there's things that you're working towards. And while you're working towards them, the amount of time that it takes to go from where you are now to where it is you want to experience really comes back to how long are you willing to tolerate staying where you are. And so you really need to ask yourself, what is it costing you to stay where you are? And costing you could be money. It could be money. It could be if you're not getting your business going, it's literally you're leaving money on the table. It could be time. Okay, because in this life we have a finite amount of time, and if you think out to the end of your life when you're 120, I don't know however old you want to live to, and you look back at your life, you're not going to be filled with excitement or wonder about all the opportunities you didn't take, or just living a life that was the same every day for 50 years. Okay, so what is it costing you? Could be time, could be money. It could be in your mental health, could be in your physical health. What is it really costing you to continue tolerating staying where you are? And when you get conscious awareness of that, what happens is that you realize there is no benefit in staying where you are. You'll create motivation to face what you need to overcome and move towards that rewarding long-term reality that you keep talking about. So I'm going to leave that with you today. And as always, leave a comment or reach out if you have any questions about this. But it's a good thing to ponder. Until next time, have a great week.